Welcome to the Online Course Creator Show, the podcast for growing and scaling your online course-based business. I'm Lou Blakely, your host, and I'm so happy that you've decided to join me today. Now, today's episode is all about what's in and what's out for 2025 Online Course Creators Edition. So this is part 2 of a 2-part series, so go back and listen to episode 86 if you haven't already. That episode was called 2024 Wrapped, Online Course Creators Edition. So that one was looking at the year that's been, whereas this one is looking forward to next year, to 2025, to the year that is now in front of us. So I'm recording this at the second to last week of December, so we're almost at Christmas. Basically, what I've done is, in these 2 episodes, is I have really looked back at what I noticed shifting this year in the industry, and from that have been able to make predictions to what is going to be the situation next year. Now, I also recorded these same 2 episodes last year, and I have re-listened to them as I've put these episodes together, and they're actually surprisingly accurate. So yeah, I'm kind of backing myself with these predictions and trends that I'm sharing with you today. So in this episode, the second part of the series, I'm going to cover what's in for online course creators in 2025, what's out for online course creators in the coming year, and my advice on what to focus on for the year ahead. So I did record the 2024 version of this episode at the beginning of 2024. It was in January. And interestingly, it was the most listened to podcast episode for the entire year on the show. So you guys clearly love this topic. And looking back at those predictions, they were pretty bang on. I actually did see most of them or all of them play out in some way, whether with my clients or in my own launches. So I am going to drop a link to last year's podcast. If you do want to listen to that, it's going to be in the show notes, so you can find it there. Also, I just wanted to preface this episode and say that because we're looking forward, we're looking at predictions, we're looking at trends, and a lot of that is based on what has already started to happen and shift and that kind of stuff. I just want to say that just because something's trendy doesn't mean that it's going to be the right answer for you, but it can definitely help, especially when we're looking at the industry as a whole, and especially when we're looking at consumer behavior. So how is the market moving and reacting, and what do customers want? Like, I think that is something that we really need to pay attention to. But these aren't necessarily trends that you've got to follow, because we all know that trends come and go, and they're either for you or they're not for you. Like, trends come out all the time and we're like, no way. Like, for me, that is the middle part, for example, if you know what I'm talking about. That's a no from me, and I don't suit it. Okay, so it doesn't suit me. And the same goes for trends in your online business. So use your decision-making powers where you tune into what you need and what you want from your business and go from there. However, I really think that you can't go wrong with what I'm sharing with you today. So let's look at what's in for the year ahead. The first one on my list, and I think this is really, really important, is personal connection in storytelling is more important than ever. So this means getting really, really clear on what you stand for, what your business values are, what your values are in general as a human being, and telling your personal story is going to be more important than ever. Now, why is it more important? It's because basically there is a sea of sameness that has largely come out through the use of AI. So being able to tell your personal story and storytelling is really a non-negotiable, in my opinion. It's no longer optional, and it is actually going to be really, really vital to your success. And if you lean into this, you are going to have an edge over the people that don't, without a doubt. Which brings me to authority-based content instead of just pumping out listicles of 3 things that you can do to achieve this outcome. So in today's online world, you really need to be able to differentiate yourself, and that is going to be through putting out content that is unique to you. Now, this is a type of content that I have actually been teaching to my clients this year and my students, because it is a shift that I've already definitely seen already. So it's only going to get more and more important. So actually, in Moneymakers, Module 4 is dedicated to this type of content. So it's all about how can you differentiate yourself. And on that topic, it's really, really important as part of this that you own who you are, what you're good at, where you can really help people. If you are going to not be willing to back yourself and publicly back yourself, then you really also have a disadvantage. Like, you might want to be humble and all of that, but one thing that I've noticed with my clients and my students, they are very highly skilled, and there's nothing wrong with backing yourself and showing people that you are actually an expert in what you do. So I would be embracing this type of content so that you stand out from the people who are really just coming up with like generic content, like putting it into like ChatGPT and getting some like random like 3 tips to do this or 4 steps to do that. They're really not enough to get attention anymore. So it's really about integrating your experiences and your unique knowledge into your content. And as I said, there's a whole module on this type of content in Moneymakers. So if you want to join the waitlist for that, the link is also in the show notes, or I'll put it down below the podcast and your podcast player as well. Now, the next thing that is going to be super important in 2025 is creating a strategic offer suite that is going to get you the results that you want. So in last year's predictions, I did say that having one offer is no longer going to be enough, and I definitely think that is totally true. Having a strategic, well thought out offer suite that allows someone to move from one offer to the next is going to be more important than ever. And if you have this, you are going to be ahead of your competitors, ahead of the game. So if you want to make multi-6 figures in this type of business this coming year without burning out, then you are going to need an offer suite. And the good news is, if you don't want to do one-on-one work, you don't have to do one-on-one work. You create the offer suite that suits you, which is amazing news. Now, moving on to the next thing that I think we're going to see a lot of in this coming year is lower cost digital products and automated sales funnels for those lower cost digital products. These are definitely in at the moment. These are working really well because people are wanting to sample our work before actually deciding to go into our higher ticket offers. And also, just based on the economy, it's a really good option to have like a wide range of price points. And these low-cost digital products definitely give people the opportunity to work with you at a low cost. But they work well or best if you actually have a funnel in place behind it rather than just selling a standalone lower-cost digital product. So this benefits you big time. So it makes it more worthwhile, more profitable for you. And it's a great way to serve new students without you actually having to be there teaching them in real time, and gives them an opportunity to sample your work, what you're all about, get to know your teaching style before they may want to commit to that higher level like signature program or group coaching program. However, when it comes to these products, I truly believe that you've got to get your signature program up and running and then go and implement these kind of lower ticket offers once you've got that signature program to where you want it to be. So this type of product really ties in with my previous point about offer suites. So you actually want any lower cost digital products to operate as a gateway to that next product in your offer suite. So that signature program or a higher level product than that. So it's really important that you get really strategic here and build out that offer suite that suits you and your business and matches your goals, and also provides that customer journey for your customer. So being strategic here matters. Think about what you want the most, think about your customer base, and craft your offer suite from there. And this is what I actually help you with in your own personalized Your 2025 strategy in a day, which are VIP days where we spend the entire day together that I am running in January. I only have a couple of spots left at this point, but I definitely wanted to put the offer out there to you guys to let you know that there's still some spots available. And the price for these is actually going up on the 1st of January. So if you want to grab my 2024 rate for this day together, where we map out your personalized, streamlined strategy of what your offers are going to look like and what your launches are going to look like for the year ahead so that you reach your goals, just have a look below this episode or look in the show notes and you'll see the link to book in, which is only going to be there for a limited time. Disclaimer, I'm only doing these in January at this point, so if you want to grab that opportunity, definitely don't wait. So let's move on to the next one. So what's in? We're still in what's in for 2025. I definitely think that live launches are going to make a massive comeback. However, they're going to be live launches that are done in a way that suits you and your goals. They're going to be done in a way where it's not like a huge build up and hype fest and then just pure sales all of the way. I think that there isn't that many people that actually have the audience to do that kind of launch these days. And we very much used to see this one big launch a year from these big creators. And there are definitely still some people succeeding with that model for sure, but they have been doing it for over a decade type thing, right? So I think we're going to see live launching coming back in a big way, but it's going to be more consistent live launching. And I think this is happening because for a few years, people have been like avoiding live launching, or, there's kind of been this discourse about how live launching burns you out. Live launching is like not fun. But I think that people are really starting to realize that there is no more effective or better way to actually get your product out there and make a lump sum of money in your business at the same time, while still not having to do one-on-one work or done for you work or services-based work, that takes a lot of our energy. So I definitely think there's this realization. I talk to women in business all of the time, and I've heard this from quite a few people. They did a live launch like years ago, and then they found that it was a lot of work, so they haven't done it again. But then in hindsight, they actually made a lot of money out of their live launch, and it did a lot for their business. So if that's you, it's now time to look at how can you do live launching in a way that is really going to serve you, because there's no doubt about it, it works. They make you sales. Live launches also grow your audience. Like the momentum you'll get from a live launch, you just can't replace it. Live launches get you extremely visible to your customers, gets you in front of new people, brings in traffic to your business. And the great thing about all of this is that even if they don't buy your course in that launch, quite often people will be asking you about other ways to work with you, or they may also join the next round, which is exactly why I encourage you to commit to more than one launch. So live launching brings a huge benefit to your business. So even if you're doing small launches, the benefits are profound. So the key is to stick at it and not give up after one launch, which is actually a huge problem if you ask me. If you are guilty of doing one launch and then bailing for whatever reason, then I highly recommend you've actually done the hardest thing, getting that launch out of the way. And it's like, you can totally revisit it and stick at it. And actually that is where the real rewards come in. Now, this is something that I have spoken about a lot on this podcast. So if you're a regular listener, this is not new to you. So the next thing that I think is going to be in for the year ahead is more in-person events and retreats, that kind of thing. I actually went to 2 retreats. I went to one in September and then another one in November, and they were both amazing. So I think that people are really craving connection and wanting to get to know other people who are similar to them, and also to travel and just generally enjoy life, enjoy their business. And, if you are thinking about putting on a business retreat for business owners, for your students or, your target market, then I definitely think that would be well received. I definitely think you've got to get the offer right for them and have a longer runway up to an event like this. So rather than, you wouldn't do a launch for an in-person event or a retreat, it would be more something that you're consistently marketing for a longer period of time in order to fill it up. And if you can commit to that, then I think they're a great option. They could also be a great add-on to a program as well. Now, the next one, I think there is a real need in the market for more guided training options. So, online courses are traditionally considered self-study, but a lot of people are craving more hands-on support and are looking for those higher touch options. So I think group coaching programs are going to do really well, and they are something that I've seen do really well in 2024. So I think that's going to continue. I also think in 2025 that it's a really good idea to add on a VIP option to your self-study course. If you want to, of course it's got to be something that you want to deliver. It could be that for a self-study course you add on a tier where they get group coaching, they get feedback, they get eyes on their work, they get audits and all that type of thing. Or you could even add in some one-on-one sessions, depending on what it is you're teaching, of course, and also, like I mentioned, that you actually want to deliver it. So I think that is a really wise option to have for your signature program this coming year, where you have a fully self-study at a cheaper price, because obviously the price point needs to reflect what they're getting, and then a higher, like a VIP tier, where they get the Rolls Royce. So that's a really good option and something that you could consider for the year ahead. Now, in terms of AI for the year ahead, I think things are going to actually get a lot more, a lot more streamlined, a lot more useful this coming year in terms of AI. So we had AI come out at the very end of 2022. 2023, everyone was all about it and used it quite a lot initially, but then I think we all kind of got this chat GPT fatigue where we were like, that was written by chat GPT, as you're scrolling the internet or whatever. It's very easy to tell the content that's just been created in chat GPT and copy and pasted. We can all read that now. There's no connection there. You just sound like everyone else. And there's particular words that ChatGPT loves that have become real indicators to people that it's written by chat. So I think that basically the skill level is increasing pretty rapidly. Actually, I think we're going to see a lot more custom GPTs that are built to actually create content that's more personalized to our voice, to our uniqueness, which is great. I think that it's a time to really be looking at putting that into your own business. I also think we're going to start seeing better AI for processes and systems that are going to help us run the back end of our business. And I definitely think that is also a good thing. I think that obviously AI is here to stay. We can avoid it or we can get involved. And if you are in a niche where you feel like AI is going to take over from some of your work, then I would really be looking at how you can actually move with the market rather than fight against this, because I think it's only going to get more sophisticated and better, and people are going to get more skilled at using it, even small business owners. So I think that you can avoid it at your own peril if you are in this type of industry. So in terms of social media, I have a few predictions here. I think that on Instagram, we're going to see less B-roll and, these reels where people just sitting there doing something completely unrelated with text over the screen. I think that is already becoming less effective, actually. And we're going to see more personal connection, almost like a return to what Instagram used to be like back in the day. Unfortunately, without the great reach that you used to get there. I remember I used to put up like a flat lay with a tiny audience and it would get like over 100 likes. It was crazy. I would love it if that was still the case, but obviously it's not anymore, which is a shame. But I think we're already seeing this return to like sharing what you're up to on the weekend, that kind of thing. So we're seeing this already. So how can you bring that personal connection to Instagram and more talking to the camera, that kind of thing, which I think is actually, it feels really nice. And I think that we're going to see more and more of that. Now, I wanted to share a wee prediction around LinkedIn. So I think that LinkedIn is going to actually get more and more saturated. I think that it has had a huge increase in popularity in the last 2 years, which is great, like especially because people have gotten pretty sick of Instagram and Facebook. So if you do think that you have a market on LinkedIn, which I think most people do, then I definitely think it's time to jump on there if that's part of your plan. One of my longtime clients, Leanne Bassett, is amazing at teaching LinkedIn. She has group coaching programs where you join for like 6 weeks and go through the training. So I'm going to add the link to her website in the show notes because she is someone that can definitely help you with LinkedIn. I think that LinkedIn is, quite different to Facebook and Instagram. So it requires like a different type of content. I personally am not a huge fan of LinkedIn. I don't really enjoy it. So for various reasons that I don't really want to get into, but it kind of reminds me of going back to corporate. And I know I could use it in a way that works for me, but I'm not quite there yet. So for me, LinkedIn isn't really where I'm at right now anyway. But if it is something that you want to pursue, then I definitely recommend like make a move and start consistently posting over there. So that is what's in 2025, done and dusted. So moving on to what's out. So this is going to be a bit of a quick fire list. So I think what's out is the kind of wing it and pray approach to launching. So this is where you're just like saying, I'm going to launch this program, putting it out there and seeing how it goes and not really having a proper strategic plan. I think that this could have worked right during the pandemic, and I think a lot of people saw this working, but it's definitely not working in this market today, and it's definitely not going to work in 2025. So less focus on that one big launch model or just like putting an idea out there and winging it and hoping it works, right? And choosing to do more regular but smaller launches also does wonders for your stress levels. So focus on that. And if you need help with, avoiding the wing it and pray approach, then, you know where I'm at. So get in touch. So what is also out is avoiding live launching because you don't want to put yourself out there. You're too scared. You're worried about if it's going to fail. And instead choosing to do nothing. Like you're not going to win doing nothing. That is 100% guaranteed. So your chances are more in your favor if you actually decide, you know what, I'm going to do the thing and I'm going to do it now. Because the lessons, the learnings, and just the experience of having done it, and actually the pride that you're going to feel for doing something that you potentially find a little bit scary, like they are going to be huge for you. So stop avoiding the live launching and just do it. Now, here's another one that I seriously got quite sick of this year, and that is waiting for the economy to come right before you go all in. So we can't control the economy. Like, sure, we can try and save our money instead of spending it to help stop inflation, but is one person really going to have an impact there? Probably not. So we have little control about what's happening in the economy, both locally and internationally, and it's all connected, right? So what can you control? What can you actually do today, regardless of what's happening out there in the bigger, wider world? What can you do? And focus on that, because what you do now, what you build now is going to set you up so that when the economy comes right again, which it is totally going to, you are going to be in a really great position because you've actually started the building blocks now. And like I said with the last one around avoiding live launching, like if you are going to not put a product out there because the economy is not in the right place, then you're actually going to make less money. You're going to make no money. Whereas if you put it out there, even if you feel like the market is not operating at the highest level, then you're going to make more money than if you just don't do it. So I really kind of got sick of this year, to be honest. And I think that I've noticed a lot of people in my audience have gotten sick of this too. Like, how long are you willing to put your plans on hold based on something completely out of your control? Or is it time to just take control now and actually do what you can? Like, I know which one I would pick, right? So I really encourage you to pick that one as well, rather than waiting and putting things on hold until something you have no control over corrects itself, right? So I'm on a bit of a rant here, but you catch my drift, right? So I've got a few things in what's out according to AI, or on the AI topic. So I think using like these AI bots for commenting on posts. Now I see this on LinkedIn all of the time, and when I can tell, like within 1 second of reading a comment, I know that AI wrote it, and it just gives me the ick big time. So no, let's not do that. Like if you want to write a comment, it takes like 30 seconds and actually put some thought into it. I think that goes a long way. Also using that generic copy and paste output from ChatGPT or other AI tools, and then just pasting it in your social media captions or in your email newsletters. Like, people know that you're doing it now. And I think that we're in a market that is more sophisticated than that. So I think that's definitely on the out. And if you're still doing that, then I definitely encourage you to look at ways where you can start personalizing your AI output to actually sound more like you, or simply editing, like spending a little bit of time editing the output that you are getting. Now, my final what's out for 2025 is being obsessed with advice on all sorts of things from all sorts of people. So it's time to put your blinkers on and take action. That is the only way you are going to get the wins. You are not going to get any points for knowing what all of these industry professionals, depending on what industry you're in, you're not going to get any wins from knowing what everyone said, because it's just going to confuse you and you're going to get shiny object syndrome. Then you're going to feel like you're not good enough, and then you're not going to take any action. Also, it's really addictive to keep learning. Like, you really need to step out of learning and into action. And while I'm really, really happy to share information on this podcast as an example, I want you to actually take action more than anything, because you need to understand that when you take the action, it's not going to be perfect, but you are going to get wins. You are going to learn so much, and it's going to be amazing. But you don't get that from just simply listening. So it's really time to put what you've learned to date into action. And if you need extra support, if you know that you need a coach to help you, that accountability, that support to keep you on task, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You are like most people. So get that support that you need. It's really, really, really important. So now we have looked at what's in for the year ahead and what's out for the year ahead. So now I'm going to share with you like my top advice for you this year, and then we're going to wrap this episode up. So firstly, I really advise you to focus on building a solid offer suite to cater to the next step for your customers. So cater to those who want to self-study, but also have like that higher level tier for those people who crave a higher level of support. And make sure you price these accordingly. So that also fits in with the low-cost digital product and sales funnels as well that we spoke about. So if you need help on what this looks like for you, then book in for one of my 2025 strategy in a day sessions where we will map this all out for you and you'll walk away with your own personalized strategy. Now I'm running these in January and I only have a few days available. So the link for that is going to be below and in the show notes. So secondly, get really clear on your brand values, your story, and start to share more authority-based content. You can start doing this today. As I mentioned before, the need to stand out is bigger than ever because of AI. So these kind of things have moved from nice to have to absolutely essential. My next tip for next year is just put your blinkers on and go for it. There is no better time than now, so stop waiting and just commit and go all in. My next tip is to really focus on building your business model around the life that you really want to have. Not what someone else wants to have, but what you want to have. There truly is nothing more rewarding than this. And this is actually the whole reason why I run this business, right? Because I wanted to build a business model that works for me. And that is why I love what I do and I find it so rewarding because I'm helping others do the same while actually living my dream life because this is the only one that I have. So if you don't want to take on clients in terms of one-on-one clients, you absolutely don't have to. There are so many options available to you. So you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You get to decide. So build this thing for you. So really commit to what you want. If you want to ditch the clients, then decide that you no longer want private clients or you don't want to provide any more services. You don't want to do any more done for you work. Like there's no shame in that. Just make the decision, declare it, and go all in with the business model that you really dream about. So this particular business model that I teach works amazingly well when you're all in. It's a lot harder if you've just got like a tiny toe dipped in to see if it's going to take off. So I'm here to help you create your dream life, so don't hesitate to reach out to me. And also, like I've already mentioned, if not now, then when? You can wait for conditions to be perfect, but I assure you they are never going to be perfect. So the time to make the move is now. We're at the start of a new year, which is always an amazing time to wipe the slate clean, get really clear on what you want, and really go for it. So that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed that. So we covered what's in, and then we looked at what's out, which are very intertwined with each other, right? And then I shared some advice for the year ahead. So I really hope that you got some takeaways from this episode. And if you're listening to this when it comes out, when I am recording, and it comes out today actually, so it's almost Christmas. So I wish you all a happy holidays and also want to thank you so much for listening to the podcast this year. I hope it really helps you move forward when it comes to creating a freedom-based lifestyle and business that lights you up. And my goal is that this really inspires you to actually put what you're learning into action and start moving towards your goals. So thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks, course creators and go-getters. You're incredible, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit subscribe in your podcast app so you don't miss an episode. If you'd like to find out more about what I offer, head across to loublakely.com. See you next time.